So in a previous video I talked about our Whirlpool microwave, and this time I'm going to show you how to do those same 3 common problem fixes that anybody can do, this time with a GE microwave. This is a GE Space Saver. The first one is it goes completely dead. The screen turns off, nothing happens. The second one is a group of problems where it might say door error, it might stay on even though you open the door, the fan might stay on, the light might stay on. The third thing is the F1E4 error that you'll see on the screen. The first 2 are easy to fix. Anyone can fix them. The last one's a little more complicated. So the first problem is the microwave goes completely dead, and that is the fuse, the main fuse. It's a 20 amp, 250 volt fuse, and it's located somewhere behind here. It depends on which microwave you have, but it's generally in this area. In the Whirlpool, it's up here. In the GE, it's back here. So first you have to get to that fuse. There's 2 screws on the top. You take those off. This cover comes right off. Next, there's a screw right behind this cover that you take off, and it lifts up and out. Now, I suggest taking your phone and taking pictures of all these wires. You don't want to be confused on where they plug back in, because you do have to make sure where some of these wires get plugged back in. So here's the back cover plate where everything plugged into here, here, down here. And the first thing is they have an instruction booklet, which is really nice. It shows you where everything is. But the thing we're looking for is tucked away right up here. You might not be able to see it, but if you reach up here and pull it out, it is the main fuse. And you can usually look at it and see if it's burned or not. And it is a 20 amp, 250 volt. And it says right here on the top, 20 amp, 250 volt. And this one looks okay. It's not burned at all. So if your microwave is completely dead, this is the reason why. You replace this and you're good. You can get this online. I'll put a link in the description. Or you can go to any hardware store, Home Depot, things like that, and they'll have it. Look for an appliance fuse. Okay, the next problem, which is the most common problem, is you're going to get an issue where it says door error, or the microwave will stay on when you open it, or the fan or the light will stay on. And that is an issue with one of your 3 switches. They're called micro switches. So if you're looking online, again, I'll put links down in the description for the types of switches you need. They're common through every microwave, so it doesn't matter what microwave you have, it's the same 3 switches. They're called micro switches. They're either normally closed, normally open, so that's NC, NO, and then one that switches between both, open, closed. All you have to do is take the switch off. You can either take it off the front, or there's usually a little tab. You pull up on the tab, and it pulls right off. There's 2 wires on 2 of the switches, and one switch has 3 wires. So here's the top switch. You unplug it, and you can see there's a bottom plug and then the bottom on the side. And you can listen. You can hear that clicking. This switch is good. If you would push this in and it's hard to push in or it doesn't click, it's most likely bad. You can check it with a multimeter, or you can pull it apart. These will pull apart and you can look at them. But this one, usually when it's clicking, it's usually pretty good. And on the back, there's codes. This one says 55731C. On the Whirlpool, it said FC61 or FC62. All you have to do is look up micro switch and then match the picture of what it looks like. I'm going to get the other switches out and show you that they're different. Okay, now these other ones might be a little tricky to get off. There's little plastic pieces and you got to put them through the points. You might end up breaking the plastic, but it should be okay. Now to pull these other ones off, they're a little hard to pull off, but you can see here's the bottom switch, and the bottom had 2 switches on it. And again, before you pull these off, make sure to take pictures with your phone so you know which wires go to which switch and which. And I just realized on the Whirlpool microwave, there was one switch that had a 3-way switch. This one doesn't have it. This one has 2 similar switches, the 55731C. So this one has 2 of the same switches. And you can tell these are both good. And then it has one 75728C. So if you look those up on Amazon, you will find that they are micro switches, and they're either normally open or normally closed. And it doesn't matter, you don't have to buy that code, just buy a generic micro switch that's either normally open or normally closed. So this has 2 normally open micro switches. That's all you need. You don't need the GE official $30 switch, just buy a generic, normally open micro switch. There's 2 of them. The other switch, I can see the plug is on the back higher. So this one has a plug lower, this one has the plug higher up, and on the back it says NC. That means normally closed. It should solve your issue for a door error or anything where the microwave or the fan or the light is staying on. That's one of the most common problems, is a door switch. Even on a relatively new microwave, 1 or 2 years old, you can have an issue with a door switch. Now the last area you might have is the tricky one. It's the one that might cause you to want to buy a new microwave. It's the F1E4 error. And that is a relay switch error. Now, we had that error, we had the door error, and then we had the F1E4 error, and then it blew. And it ended up just being the fuse and the switch. So if you get the F1E4 error, replace the fuse if the thing's out, and then possibly the switch, and hopefully that does it. If it doesn't, you have to start looking at this circuit board on the back and start looking at the relay switch, where the 2 wires, we had these wires with the blue covers plugged into. That's the relay. You might have to look this part up. I'll put a description down for the Whirlpool and for this one. You might have to desolder this and replace it, or you could buy a whole new circuit board. But that's going to cost you about $60 to $100 for your specific board, and at that point you might as well just buy a new microwave. So if you get that F1E4 error, first try the easy solutions, the fuses and the switches. See if those are bad, check them. If not, start looking at this relay, the main relay. Again, you can look at the instructions here and find where that is. But if you get that F1E4 error, that's a more serious one, and you might have to replace your microwave. And you might say, hey, mine's only 2 years old. Hopefully it's just one of the cheap problems like the switches that fused, but it might be this relay right here that plugs into it. Again, when you work on this, this is obviously not plugged in. You don't want to have this plugged in when you're working on it. But hopefully these 3 fixes will fix whatever you have wrong. If it's completely dead, it's the fuse. If it's other issues, it's one of the door switches. If it's beyond that, that's when you might want to start looking and buying a whole new microwave, or seeing if you can fix this relay switch or buy a whole new circuit board. So I hope this helps, and let me know if you have any other questions. Thanks.
Well, I hope you liked the video you just watched. If you did, feel free to subscribe by clicking the button on this side. You can also check out all the videos I've done, the playlist from things I've built, things I've fixed, home repair, 3D printing, and on this side you can check out a recommended video similar to the one you just watched. And as always, down in the description I'll put a link to my blog, which has more pictures and more information about the video you just watched. Thanks.